Dennis Kucinich, Democrat of Ohio, and a member of the Out of Iraq caucus. Tell us what, if anything, impressed you about the President's speech last night.
It seemed that not only is he not going to change direction, but he's going to take us deeper into a situation that most experts say cannot be won militarily. But I thought the most important thing that hasn't gotten much attention by the media yet, he seems to be laying the basis for an attack on Iran. And the saber rattling over Iran was quite significant to talk about sending an aircraft carrier to the region, equipping friends and allies with Patriot missiles, going back over the challenge of Iran's nuclear developments. I think that the President, instead of trying to find a way to bring a calming hand to the region, is using this philosophy of escalation to take the conflict beyond Iraq. If there was ever a time that we needed to take a new direction and to end the occupation, bring our troops home, close down those bases, and reach out to the international community, reach out to the Iranian government and the Syrian government, and try to come up with a new peace plan, this is the time. And so that's what I've been working on in the Congress, circulating the Kucinich plan, a 12-point plan to exit Iraq and to stabilize Iraq, and also to begin a new chapter in American relations with the world.
Tell us about that 12-point plan, and what's the purpose, and how do you think it's going to go?
Well, I think that there is a quest right now for authenticity and integrity in our international relations. Most people realize that all the reasons we went into Iraq were wrong, that Iraq didn't have weapons of mass destruction, had no intention or capability of attacking the United States, had nothing to do with 9/11, and on and on. So we have to understand that we fractured our relations with the global community with policies of unilateralism, preemption, and first strike. So that's the context of the plan. The plan says that if we want to reunite the international community to assist the United States in exiting from Iraq, then what we need to do is first announce that we're going to end the occupation, that we're going to withdraw our troops, close the bases, because the occupation is fueling the insurgency, and then we begin a program that will cause international peacekeepers and security forces to move into Iraq to replace U.S. troops. Furthermore, we must begin a process of reconciliation with the Sunnis, the Shiites, and the Kurds. We must begin a serious reconstruction program in Iraq with the help of the international community. And there has to be reparations paid to the people of Iraq for the massive civilian casualties that they have suffered. That's part of the plan, and it's a plan crafted with the help of people in the international community, the UN, military experts, and people are looking for a new direction. That's what I'm offering. Well, I think what's happening now is that people in both parties in Washington are understanding that the President policies in Iraq have been counterproductive. In fact, it was the United States bombing of Iraq that helped to ruin the Iraq infrastructure. In fact, two United States administrations were fully aware that that Saddam Hussein was gassing the Kurds, and they looked the other way, did nothing because they didn't want to interrupt the relationship they were trying to build with Saddam Hussein in connection with his conflict with Iran. I think that when you talk about, well, you can't talk to a snake, the whole history of humanity has been of conflict where people found a way to reconcile with those with whom they had tremendous differences. I mean, the way that all wars are resolved is that people determine that they're going to put down their swords. In effect, we're admonished to turn our swords into plowshares, our spears into pruning hooks. And we've done that repeatedly. We have to call on that capacity at this time. We should not be escalating. We should not be cycling war to affect more and more people. And so this is actually the moment to make the transition from the type of thinking that says war is inevitable to a type of thinking that says peace is inevitable if you're willing to exercise diplomacy, the science of human relations that Franklin Roosevelt talked about. We have to call on those capacities, which we do have, and we have to do it fearlessly. Our soldiers are in an impossible situation, which is why I've taken this strong stand. I mean, actually, the reason why I'm running for President of the United States is because I see us drifting towards a policy of more war at a time when we need to recognize that the world is interdependent, it is interconnected. I'm not just opposed to this war in Iraq. I'm opposed to the use of war as policy, as an alternative to diplomacy. We have to learn to, as Dr. King said, We have to learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we're going to perish as fools. And so we have this capacity that I'm trying to call attention to so that we can look to create not just a better nation, but a better world. And you do it with practical things like the plan that I've offered to begin the exit from Iraq. I want to thank the Atlanta caller because you're right. I mean, it's not that errors were made. People knew there was no connection between Iraq and 9/11. And the day after 9/11, there was a meeting of the National Security Council where Secretary Rumsfeld said, look, essentially, let's use this to go after Iraq. And that's in Bush at War by Woodward, page 49. You need to keep in mind that the war was based on lies. There's a line in the Bible that says, that which is crooked cannot be made straight. Everything about our endeavor in Iraq is crooked. Right from the beginning of the shock and awe campaign, the determination to go to war, the door-to-door fighting, the grabbing of oil assets, the determination even at this time to privatize Iraqi's oil. Everything about Iraq is wrong. When you go in and you have the wrong intentions, no good fruit can come from a poison tree. And so we need to get out of Iraq. But it's more than that. We need to change our approach in the world. We need to renounce policies of unilateralism, preemption, and first strike. We need to reconnect with the world community. The whole world's waiting for an America and a leader to come forward who understands the imperative of global unity, of the interconnectedness and interdependence of all people. I mean, think about it. You know, this program can be seen on the web and around the world. I can pick up a phone and call anywhere in the world. I can fly from Washington anywhere in the world. They just have a new service. You can fly to China. If we have the internet that connects people, and we have all of this technical infrastructure that brings us together, then why do we have war? What's this about? I mean, we need to ask some fundamental questions here about worldview, and that's the questions that candidates have to be asked. If they say, well, look, I was for the war at one time, and now I'm against it, does that reflect a change in worldview, or are they for getting out of Iraq and attacking Iran?